Somewhere in the last 10 years, you have heard this fact. The human attention span has dropped to 8 seconds, 1 second shorter than a goldfish. It has been in Time magazine, in the New York Times, in 1,000 LinkedIn posts, and probably in a school assembly near you. It is one of the most quoted statistics of the internet age, and it is completely made up. There is no study, there is no data, there is not even a goldfish. Nobody has ever measured the attention span of a goldfish. And here is where it gets dark. Because while the internet was laughing at goldfish, TikTok was quietly running its own attention research on you. And in 2024, their private conclusions leaked out of a court filing because somebody redacted the documents wrong. So today, we do 3 things. We kill the fake stat for good. We look at what real science actually says short-form video does to a brain. And then we read the sentences TikTok wrote about you when they thought nobody would ever see them. The 8-second stat went viral in spring 2015 when Microsoft Canada published a marketing report about attention in the digital age. One page had a tidy little infographic. Human attention span, 12 seconds in the year 2000, down to 8 seconds in 2013. Goldfish, 9 seconds. The press did the rest. Humanity, now officially dumber than a fish that lives in a bowl. But Microsoft never ran that study. The report's own citation points to a website called Statistic Brain, and when a BBC radio team tried to trace the number back in 2017, the trail went cold. The sources Statistic Brain listed said they had never produced any such research. The site itself is dead now. Nobody, anywhere, has ever shown the experiment that measured your attention span at 8 seconds. And the goldfish half is even better, because goldfish are doing fine. Researchers at Plymouth University trained goldfish to work a feeding lever, then made the lever pay out only 1 hour a day. Within weeks, the fish learned to show up right on schedule. The animal we made the global mascot of distraction keeps a better daily routine than most people watching this video. So why did the entire world believe it instantly? Because it feels true. You feel your own focus slipping. You just cannot put a number on the feeling. The 8-second stat handed you a number, a villain, and a punchline in one sentence, which is, ironically, a perfect piece of engagement bait. A lie about your attention span, engineered to be irresistible to your attention span. And the feeling kept growing anyway. By the end of 2024, Oxford University Press made brain rot its word of the year, with usage up 230% in 12 months. The internet had diagnosed itself. But a vibe is not evidence. So throw out the goldfish and ask what the real numbers say. Gloria is a professor at the University of California, Irvine, and she has spent 20 years measuring one specific thing: how long you stay on one screen before you switch. In 2004, her subjects averaged about 2.5 minutes. By 2012, 75 seconds. In her latest work, 47 seconds. That is not a goldfish meme. That is the same measurement repeated for 2 decades, moving in one direction. And in 2025, researchers pulled together 71 separate studies covering more than 98,000 people in the journal Psychological Bulletin. The pattern on short-form video was ugly. Heavier use tracks with worse attention, worse impulse control, and higher anxiety and depression. And here is the detail that should actually bother you. This is not just a teenager problem. Adults showed this. Now, the scientists are careful with this. These are correlations. Maybe scrolling shreds your attention, or maybe people with shredded attention scroll more. The researchers hedge, because that is what honest people do with incomplete data. Remember that honesty, because the one company that did not hedge, in private, was TikTok. In October 2024, 13 states and the District of Columbia sued TikTok over youth addiction. Standard procedure. The company's internal research enters the filings under black redaction bars, and the public never reads it. Except, the version filed in Kentucky had a problem. Whoever redacted it left the text underneath selectable. Kentucky Public Radio copied it, pasted it, and published it with NPR. And TikTok's private voice sounds nothing like its public one. In their own internal documents, TikTok's researchers describe what compulsive use of their app correlates with. This is a direct quote: a slew of negative mental health effects, like loss of analytical skills, memory formation, contextual thinking, conversational depth, empathy, and increased anxiety. That is not a critic talking, not a senator. That is the company describing its own product, in writing, to itself. And it is not one stray sentence. The same document keeps going. Compulsive use, it says, also interferes with the basics of being a person: sufficient sleep, responsibilities at school and at work, connecting with the people you love. Read that list again. That is not an app describing a feature. That is a company listing the parts of your life its product eats. The lawsuit says TikTok determined exactly how much viewing it takes to form a habit: 260 videos. And the state investigators did the math on that. TikToks can run as short as 8 seconds, served back to back, automatically. Under 35 minutes, and an average user is likely addicted to the platform. So the 8 seconds was real after all. It was just never your attention span. It was the dose. But the dose was only half the discovery, because TikTok also knew what the machine serves you once it has you. And they knew because their own people tested it. Employees created fresh accounts and let the algorithm drive. One employee wrote that after following a few accounts with names like Pain Hub and Sad Notes, it took 20 minutes to drop into a negative filter bubble. 20 minutes, from a blank account to a feed built out of sadness. Another internal finding said users can be placed into a filter bubble after 30 minutes of use in one sitting. The company that dug the rabbit hole did not just know how deep it went, they timed the fall. And the documents were not only about your time, they were about your face. The lawsuit says TikTok took active steps to promote a narrow beauty norm, even though it could negatively impact their young users, meaning the feed leans toward one kind of face, on purpose, at a company that knew what that does to the teenagers staring at it. Your attention was the product, your self-esteem was the collateral. And to be fair, TikTok did respond to the screen time panic. They built a tool, a daily limit prompt for teenagers. Genuinely the responsible thing to build. Then the documents leak, and you learn two things. Internally, TikTok knew the tool barely moved teen usage, from about 108 minutes a day to about 107, and success for the tool was never measured in minutes anyway. One internal document says the goal was, quote, improving public trust in the TikTok platform via media coverage. The tool was not built for your kids. It was built for the headlines about your kids. And TikTok did push back, on the record. A company spokesman said it was highly irresponsible of NPR to publish information that is under a court seal, and that the complaint cherry-picks misleading quotes and takes outdated documents out of context, which you will notice is an argument about how the sentences escaped, not a claim that the company never wrote them. Which is why the courtroom part matters. 13 states and DC against TikTok. 42 attorneys general against Meta over the same playbook of engineered compulsion. And in 2026, the jury started answering. In March, a Los Angeles jury found Instagram and YouTube liable for addictive design and put $6 million on it. One day earlier, a New Mexico jury hit Meta for $375 million over child safety. And TikTok, the company with the documents, settled its own case the day jury selection was set to begin. So no, your attention span is not 8 seconds. No goldfish was ever harmed in the making of that statistic. What actually happened is stranger, and it is not your fault. Your brain is fine. It is just outgunned. On one side, 3 pounds of neurons that evolved for a world where interesting things were rare. On the other, some of the best paid engineers alive, running live experiments on 1 billion people, tuning a machine to find the exact second your interest dips and to serve the next hit before it lands. TikTok counted the videos it takes to hook a human being, 260, about 35 minutes. Then they wrote it down, filed it away, and kept shipping. The goldfish was never the one in the bowl. If this made you want to audit your own screen time, good. And if you want to know what else you technically agreed to without reading it, watch this one next. It turns out you own even less than your attention.